Imagine that you get stuck in such a place in a plane crash for 72 days where there is only snow all around, no one, no help, and no food to eat. You just see the shadow of your death all around, but then something happens to you that you did not expect at all. The story begins on October 13, 1972, when a rugby team was going to Chile from America to play their final match. It was a normal flight, and all the players inside the plane were very happy because many of them were traveling on the plane for the first time, and all of them were going to another country outside their country for the first time. Some of the players also had their family members with them who were going with them to support their children in the game. After the takeoff of the plane, when it started moving towards Chile from Andes Mountain, everything was going normal until then. All the players sitting inside were very happy and were looking at the view of snowy mountains from the window seat. But they did not know that after a few minutes, something was going to happen to them that they were afraid to even think about. After a while, the weather suddenly gets bad. A very fast snowstorm comes, which causes the plane to shake rapidly. Due to the shock, all the passengers get scared, but a passenger sitting inside tells that when a plane passes over the mountains, there is turbulence in the plane, which means it is not a matter of danger. Soon, everything will be normal. But as this plane was moving forward, its turbulence was also increasing. The plane started shaking more rapidly. All the stuff inside the plane started falling here and there. Seeing this, there was a stir among the people. The pilots were trying to handle the plane, but now the plane was out of control. Before the pilots could do anything, a mountain comes in front of them, and this plane collides with the mountain in front and separates into two parts. One player flies with the last part of the plane as soon as the plane collides and disappears in the air, while the front part of the plane collides with a large rock of snow. This collision was so fast that all the seats of the plane stick to each other, in which many people were crushed and killed. Now, the people who were saved from this accident, they took care of themselves and started helping the other people in the cabin. Some players quickly reached the pilots and tried to get them out, but during this time, both the pilots were also killed. It was a very painful environment. Blood was spreading everywhere. Corpses were scattered all over. A total of 45 people were traveling in this plane. But after this crash, 18 people lost their lives and only 27 people survived. Now, since this plane took off in the evening, it was night in a little while. The outside temperature began to fall rapidly. It was so cold that they could not bear it. Now, to save themselves from the cold, these people used the dead bodies there and close all the holes in the plane so that the cold air outside cannot come inside. And all these people stuck together to save themselves from the cold. All of them were in a very bad condition. They were still in deep shock because they had understood that they would not be able to survive now. Anyway, they spent the night somehow. When the sun rose in the morning, they saw that 4 or 5 more people died because of the cold. But the good thing was that the storm had stopped now. The weather outside had become normal. When these people came out of the plane, they saw nothing but white snow all around them. Now, these people will have to leave this place as soon as possible because they will not be able to live here for many days. There was no house around them, no animals, and no trees or plants with which these people can survive. Now, first of all, these people took out the seats of the plane so that there could be a place for everyone to sleep inside the plane. After that, they laid the injured people in the sun so that their bodies could get warm. And these people melted the snow to drink water and started collecting water by making drops one by one. After that, they collected all the people's belongings. When they found something useful, they kept it in a separate suitcase. Now, the people who are killed in this accident, some people take their bodies away from the plane and cover them with snow so that they can be saved from rotting. And when help arrived here, these people could take those dead bodies with them. When things got a little better, they breathed a sigh of relief. All of them were very hungry. Now, one piece of the remaining food was distributed to everyone. By the way, this one piece of food was very little, but it was enough to stay alive. However, everyone knew that they would have to run this food until no help reached them. Everyone thought that by now the government would have found out that their plane has crashed and soon these people would be rescued. That's why they all started sitting together and waiting for help. Actually, the place where their plane crashed was actually a valley with high mountains all around it, which was not so easy to get out of here. These things are still going on, that is when the plane passes from above. Seeing the plane, they all scream loudly and show their presence. But it doesn't help because that plane was at a great height
from which it could not see the trapped people below.
And the plane disappears in front of their eyes. A few hours later, it was night. They all wore extra clothes and hid inside the plane and used the luggage inside to close all the holes in the plane. This is how the night passed. And the next morning, a man named Nando came to his senses, who had been unconscious since the plane crashed. Nando's condition was so bad that he could not stand on his feet, but despite this, he went to his sister and hugged her. When Nando asked about his parents, he was told that his parents are dead. He was very sad to hear this. There, the rest of the people melted the snow again and collected some water and started drinking it and surviving. They also made an X sign on the ground so that the plane passing from above could be seen. After a while, another plane passed over them, seeing which, these people become very happy. And these people tried to attract his attention by shining the mirrors, but this plane also ignored them and left. These people were happy because they thought that maybe that plane has seen us and now very soon help will reach them. But like this, another night passed, but no one came to save them. Now they understand that no one will come to save us here. That's why these people think that how can we all save our lives in this closed area? That's when they thought that there were some batteries in the back of the plane, and if we bring these batteries here, then with the help of the battery we can run the radio of the plane and we'll be able to contact the outside world. Now everyone liked this idea, but it was not so easy to do this as they were thinking, because the last part of the plane, which was broken during the crash, I don't know where that part will be now. Anyway, they decided to find the last part of the plane. After that, they made some goggles using leather and glass so that these goggles could protect their eyes in the fast snowstorm. And the 4 people of the group went to bring those batteries. But after going a little far, when they turned around, they could not see their plane anywhere, and now they realized that no one will see their plane in the middle of so much snow, and maybe that's why no one has come to save them yet. Now they try to move forward. That's when the snow there started to crack. Seeing this, these people get scared and come back to their plane. In this way, these people spend 6 days trapped here, and after a week, all the food in the plane was over. Now this area was covered with snow, and there was no animal or any tree or plant nearby. That's why now they have to do something to fill their stomachs. When they could not find anything to eat, they started eating moss on stones, which tasted very bad, but they had to eat it out of helplessness. Here, Nando said that if he had to eat the bodies of dead people, then he would do this to keep himself alive. Hearing this, all the people started thinking. Soon there was a debate among them that they should eat the dead people or die of hunger. Some people said that doing this is not right, God will not forgive us. After that, they put stones on their stomachs and spent time like this, and with time their hunger also increased. The situation was that all of them were forced to eat their clothes and cigarettes, but after being hungry for many days, their hunger was not going to be quenched by those things. A few more days passed like this, and due to hunger, Nando's sick sister died. Nando also lost his sister along with his parents. Time passed like this, and these people somehow kept themselves alive for 9 days. But by now, their hunger had increased so much that their minds had also stopped working, and now their death was just one step away from them. Now they had no other choice, so they decided to eat those dead bodies. First of all, 4 people went out of the plane and started eating the dead bodies. Seeing the meeting, some more people also changed their minds, and they also went to them to fill their stomachs. But there were 5 people who were willing to die, but they did not think it right to eat another person. From the next day, they started cutting the dead bodies away so that these 5 people did not have any trouble. Here, a boy named Numa found a suitcase pressed in the snow. When he opened the suitcase, he found a radio inside. After turning on the radio, he found that there was no signal in it. For this, these people connected things and made an antenna, and they heard a news on this radio in which it was being told that the government had conducted several rescue operations in their search and sent about 66 aircraft in search of them. But despite so many attempts, when no trace of these people could be found, the government declared them dead. That's why now the government has stopped looking for them. Hearing this news, all the people of the group lost their courage and all the hopes of their survival were ruined. Now, out of the remaining 5 people who had refused to eat the dead bodies, 4 of them also ate the meat because they knew that no one would come to help them here, and now they would have to do something themselves to get out of here. Here, 3 people from the group found the back of the ship again and decided to bring the batteries inside it, so that they could use it to make contact with the outside world and tell them that we are still alive.
After this, 3 people set out to find the back of the plane, and after walking for several hours, they found some pieces of the plane that these people pick up and also found the body of the player who was separated from them at the time of the crash. They buried his body and continued their journey because now they also realized that the last part of the plane would be around here.
After climbing for hours, they were all very tired, and because of these snowy winds, it was difficult for them to breathe. Soon, it was night, and these people decided to spend the night hiding. The next morning, when their eyes opened, they were all covered with snow, and their condition was very bad. The cold was so much that one of them was frozen to the eyes, and the other 2 were not even able to stand on their feet. Now they had no strength to move forward at all, so they all sat on the iron shield outside the plane and came down from the mountain. Seeing these people empty-handed, sadness spread throughout the group, and that last remaining man also ate human flesh and slept, cursing his fate. Such days passed, and these people somehow kept themselves alive for 17 days. But the bad thing here was that the weather outside for the last 5 days was very bad. To save themselves from the storm, everyone is sitting inside the plane when a big storm comes and fills the plane with snow. Many people inside are buried under the snow. Now, the people who were left above were very scared of this incident, but then they showed courage and dug up the snow and took the buried people out. Now, all the people came out in time, but a girl was buried very low in the snow, who died of suffocation in the snow. These people were very scared, and these people were not able to handle this incident properly. That's when they started hearing strange sounds from the outside. When these people look outside, they know that another strong storm is coming towards them, which is stronger than before. Another storm comes, and all of them are buried again in the snow. The storm was so strong that the whole ship was filled with snow. Some people died on the spot. The trapped people inside had no way out now. One of them quickly made a hole in the roof of the ship so that they could get oxygen and be saved from suffocation. These people were just wishing not to fall any more snow on them. Otherwise, they would remain buried here forever. After a few hours, they took care of themselves and gathered a total of 8 dead bodies and placed them in the corner. Now, they had been stuck here for 18 days and they were starving. Now there was only one way to stay alive, that they eat the flesh of the dead bodies present inside. But it was very difficult for all of them to do this because all these dead bodies belonged to their own people. Now, seeing all this, that boy named Numa lost control of himself. He got angry and started breaking the window of the plane. Meanwhile, a piece of glass entered his foot, but he did not stop even after that and continued to make holes in the snow. After 2 days of hard work, they managed to make a hole in the top, after which they all came out. Coming out, they were so happy that they were free from the prison of death. They celebrated the joy of being alive and then dug the snow and started pulling the plane out. Meanwhile, Numa noticed that there was no pain in the wound on his foot because the snow had healed his wound, although he did not pay much attention to it and continued to dig the snow. Now the sun was out in the sky, so they did not have much trouble, and within a few hours, the plane came out. Now the sun was very good, so they all started looking for the last part of the plane. But they had no idea how they would face these snowy nights, so they decided to wait a little longer because the summer was about to come and it would be a little easier to cross this climb during this time. 34 days passed and now the weather was a little better than before. Now those who had gone in search of the plane for the first time were still unwell and they were not in a condition to climb again. A few hours later, they find out that one of their companions has died while walking hungry. Seeing this, these people become very disappointed and bury him in the snow. Similarly, 2 more days passed, and on the 36th day, they decided that if they want to save their life, then they will have to bring batteries from the backside of the plane and inform the outside world. Otherwise, we will all die one by one. After which, the 4 people of the group decided to climb up, and the names of those 4 people were Roberto, Tintin, Numa, and Nando. These people wore a lot of clothes and set out in search of the plane, but after walking for many hours, they could not see their plane anywhere. Then Numa's health began to deteriorate, and he fainted and fell down. Here, the rest of the people saw that the infection had spread in his leg injury, so they all decided to take Numa down again. But Numa refused to do this. He decided to go down alone and told the rest of the people to go ahead. Now Numa came back to the plane, but his condition was so bad that he fainted as soon as he reached there. After a little while, when he regained his consciousness, he saw that his companions were trying to remove him, but due to weakness, he could not even move. On the other hand, after traveling for many hours, they reached the place where the last part of the plane was, which broke after colliding with a rock. Seeing this, the three of them are very happy and go to the last part of the plane. When they started checking the three ships, they got a lot of things other than batteries, such as a lot of clothes, rum bottles, and a lot of cigarette packages. These people come back to their plane with their luggage, where they put the battery in the plane's radio and tried to make contact with the outside world, but unfortunately, the radio was broken, and in this way, their last hope is also found in the soil.
On the other hand, Numa's condition was getting worse, and now his infection had spread all over the body. The food they got from the plane was now over, so they all started eating human meat again. Numa stopped eating so that there was more food left for the rest of the people because he knew that now his life would not be saved. Now, some people in the group went to the last part of the plane again in the hope that they could get some work. This time, they were lucky, and they got a waterproof cloth with which they made a sleeping bag. After this, they heard the news on the radio that after 58 days of plane crash, now the government will run a final mission. After hearing this news, everyone regained their life and found a small hope to stay alive. Some people here said that we should stop here and wait for them, while the rest of the people said that if we stay here, no one will be able to see us, so some of us should walk and call for help. At night, Numa's health began to deteriorate a lot. He was taking his last breath of his life. Before dying, he told everyone that when I die, you all make me your food. By saying this word, Numa died. With these last words of Numa, everyone gets courage and they got a letter from Numa. In that letter, Numa wrote that he is very happy that he died among his friends because he cannot get a better death than this. Now, after reading Numa's letter, everyone got a different enthusiasm, and the three people of the group started looking for help again. These three started their journey. This time, these three had decided that they would cross these mountains at any cost and reach Chile and call for help for everyone. These three kept climbing without stopping, and when night fell, they slept in that sleeping bag. The next morning, they started climbing again and reached the top of the mountain, but looking at the view above, it seemed like their courage was broken. There were mountains in front of them, and it meant that they still had a long way to go. They thought that they should all go back because to complete this journey, they did not have food for 3 people. Here, Tintin gave his food to both of them and went back himself so that they could complete this journey easily. Although this journey was quite long and full of challenges, but still they did not give up and kept moving forward. And finally, after walking for 10 days in a row, their hard work paid off. They reached an area where there was very little snow. They also found a clear river where they stopped and drank a lot of water. Then something happened that no one had expected. They saw a man riding a horse who was standing across the river. At first, they did not believe their eyes by seeing that man. They thought they were dreaming, but soon they realized that it was not an illusion, but a real person. Seeing that man, they were overwhelmed with happiness. They shouted loudly and asked for help from that man. But that man could not understand them because he was far away from them and could not hear anything in the flowing water. So he threw a paper and pencil across the river so that they could write and tell something. And they wrote their whole story on that paper. After reading the whole story written on the paper, this man took that paper and took it to the government officer, where the officer also found out that some of the people who we thought were dead in the plane crash 2 months ago are still alive. And as soon as the news was received, the government started the mission to save all these people. This man brought Roberto and Nando to his house where they ate to their heart's content. Now this news spread like fire throughout the city, and soon there was a fair of reporters and people stuck in the snowy mountains also heard this news on the radio, which started everyone jumping for joy. After this, they washed their hands and packed their luggage. Soon, the rescue team reached that location with Roberto and Nando, and after 72 days of the plane crash, they were finally saved. After this, all these people were brought to the city where they met their family, and all the people of the city welcomed them like heroes.
Now, all these people were admitted to the hospital. Here, they all helped each other bathe, and then they were given separate beds. But that night, they all slept together because after this accident, they were all in deep shock. At the end of the story, we learned that a total of 45 people were traveling in this plane, out of which only 16 people were saved. With this, the film made on the true story ends. If you enjoyed the story, then subscribe to our channel and like the video.